Hello, this is Ms. DB. In this video, we are going to learn about using expressions. I have the textbook open here on the left side of the screen, and I have the worksheet for this assignment open on the right. In the textbook, you'll see that it has the same name as the worksheet. It starts out with a story about this trip. If you did the first assignment, you see that there's a trip that this person is going to take. So you can read through that, and then it introduces a real-world based problem that we will solve by using algebraic expressions. So again, the book is over here. Here's what we're going to learn about, and then the worksheet matches that reading assignment. So on the worksheet, you can see there's also some examples here. We have an algebraic expression that has a coefficient, that's a number in front of a variable. The variable in this case is x, and then sometimes there's a constant, which is just a number that's added or subtracted to your variable expression. When we are going to evaluate algebraic expressions, we have to take the number that they give us, replace the variable with that number, and then we will simplify. Sometimes when we simplify, there's only one step to do. Sometimes, like in number 4 and 5, there's a couple steps that we have to do. If there's more than one step, you need to remember to follow the order of operations. The order of operations tells us that we have to first simplify anything in parentheses. Then we can multiply or divide in order from left to right, and finally add or subtract in order from left to right. And there's an example right here where they do that a problem like that. Now we're going to look at a couple problems on your worksheet. We'll start with a really simple one. Number 3 says 11r. Now we know that r is 9. You should know from before that when you write a number right next to a variable, that means multiplication. So all you have to do to solve this problem is replace the r with 9. But if I just write the 9 right after it, it looks like 119, and that's not the answer. So I'm going to use the star symbol to show multiplication. I find the star symbol by shift, and while I'm holding down my shift key, I also hold down the 8 key, and that gives me that star. That's one way to show multiplication. Another way to show multiplication would be to put parentheses around it. Now, in the past, you probably used an x for multiplication, but now that we're using algebra, that looks like a variable, so we don't like to use that one. So 11 times 9, written in one of those ways, and then you do the multiplication. You can check this with a calculator, and you'll get 99. So that one's pretty simple. Now, in these 4, 5, 6, 7, they get to be 2 steps. So let's look at number 5 has r written twice, so that's a little different. We have 3 and then r, but that means 3 times r, and r is still 9. And then we have to add r to that, and r is still 9. So here's a problem where you have both multiplication and addition. The rules for order of operations says that you should do any multiplication or division first. So in this problem, we're going to go 3 times 9. That's 27. And we still have plus 9. You know, I think I'm going to write this way so that it's in a nice vertical format here. And then finally, I can do my addition and add 27 plus 9 together. And of course, you're welcome to use your calculator to double check your math if you want. If it was 27 plus 10, that would be easy to do in my head. That'd be 37, and I'm 1 less than that, so that's 36. The second section is exactly the same, except now we're going to have a different variable, in this case h, and it's equal to 12. But you work these problems the same way. Let's look at number 10 because this looks a little different. When it says h and then that /4, that means h divided by 4. Another way to write this, if you were writing on paper, you would write this as 11 plus and then h over 4. It might look like that. And if you want to put these on your own paper, you can, and then just take a picture of your work and submit that. sign. So I know that I have 11. I'm not going to do anything with that yet. And I'm going to keep those parentheses because the h over 4, the h divided by 4, needs to be done first. Division needs to be done before addition. So I replace h with 12, and then I need to divide that by 4. So if I was doing this on paper, I would write 11 plus 12 over 4, or divided by 4. Now, what is 12 divided by 4? You can check if you need to. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I change the 12 over 4 to 3, and now I'm ready to do my addition. 11 plus 3 is 14, so you have your final answer then. Next, we're going to work on evaluating algebraic expressions when there's more than one variable. So again, there's an example problem on your worksheet there's 2 example problems that you can look back at, and then there's some problems for you to do. There's also, in the book, here's some examples with 1 variable like we just did, and then there's also some examples with 2 variables like this mx minus 3. So you can look in your book for more examples, and there'll be 1 or 2 examples on the worksheet. So you got 2 sources of information here, plus this video, of course. So for each one of these problems, they're going to tell you what the variables are equal to. So instead of a whole bunch of problems where you have the same variables equal to the same thing, each one will be different. Let's look at number 16. And you might need to hit enter a couple times to give yourself some more room if you're going to write these by hand. Otherwise, you can just hit return at the end of a line. So this says to evaluate 3y, that means 3 times y, minus z, if y equals 2 and z equals 4. So I'm going to type 3, and then instead of y, I'm going to type 2, but I'm going to use the parentheses to show that I'm going to multiply. And then I have to subtract, z, and z is equal to 4. And we get those values from over here. Z is 4, y is 2. Now in the next line, I'm going to do my multiplication first because remember at the top of the worksheet we had a review of the order of operations which says that we have to do parentheses first, then multiply or divide in order from left to right, and then add or subtract in order from left to right. So back down to where we were. 3 times 2 is my multiplication to do. That is 6. Then I will subtract 4, and then you can do the subtraction. 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. So we're all done with that problem. In 18, there's 3 different variables, and here is what those variables are equal to. Then we're going to do a few problems where you're going to translate between a written expression in words into an algebraic expression. So there's some information in this table here that might help you out. And there's also information in your book, of course. So let me move down to that section of the book. Here we go down in this section where there's some real life examples. There's a lot of information there. And then there's some more videos, and I guess there's not a specific section on writing them as, but here is the matching part of it. So on the worksheet, it's got this table here, and it's got some different, what these words tell you to do, but they're not the only ones. Like decreased, if you look up here, it's not on here. So which one do you think decreased would fit by? Does it fit in addition? No, when you're adding, you're increasing. It fits in subtraction. So even though it's not in the table, doesn't mean that that's not going to be the operation to use. So in number 19, it says 19 decreased by a number. So I'll write 19. And then decrease means to subtract. So I'm going to put the subtraction sign. And then for a number, you get to pick any variable you want. You could use n, you could use x, you could use t. You can use any number you want to use the variable. And that's all you have to do for these. That's it. There's nothing else to solve or finish. Product, that one's up here. Product means to multiply. So here's some ways to write multiplication, but don't use the x because it looks like a variable. So pick one of these other methods. You can just write the number right next to the variable. That means multiplication. And there's a couple more to do on here. And that's it. So this worksheet is the first one in the week 2 folder. Remember to save your work when you're done and then attach it to the matching assignment. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.